There she is.
Hi there, it's Gina Gardner here, and it's Rachel Davidson, my bestie.
One of your besties.
One of my besties.
Loads.
I got loads of besties. And we're going to be talking about the sort of the challenge between standing out from the herd,
Yep.
and yet also the need to belong.
The innate need to belong.
Yes. And, I wonder how many times people have felt they wanted to say something, wanted to do something, but actually felt constrained because what would other people think? Will I be ostracised if I do that?
Yeah.
And so before we start, I think it's important to actually look at why is it so important to us to be part of the crowd? And ultimately, one of the main reasons is that we'd like to think that we're evolved from cavemen.
Yes.
And yet, we're not that far evolved, particularly not at the base level, at our need to survive level.
No.
In days gone by, if you were a part of the clan, part of the tribe, you had a much better chance of survival.
Yes.
The men would hunt together, and hunting was a much more possible thing to do when you were in a group rather than as a person alone.
Yes.
You could protect one another, whereas if you were on your own, you were very vulnerable to wild animals, to other marauding clans.
Yes.
And one of the worst things possible that could happen to you was that you would be ostracised, that you would be rejected, you'd have to move away, banished from the tribe.
Yes.
Now, I believe that there's a number of effects that come from that hot wiring. One is that our need to belong. Another is that we have this innate wiring which says if you look like me, if you sound like me, if you've got the same beliefs as me, you're safe. If you are different in any way, then at some deep, deep level,
You might be risky.
There's a threat there. And, we like to think that we've moved on, but actually, I think that's at the heart of our sense of division. It's at the heart of discrimination of any sort. And we have to use our higher brain, not our reptilian brain that doesn't think, that's just reacting to an innate wiring, if we want to be these evolved beings that we like to think we are.
But also there's the aspect that a sense of belonging is very closely linked to a sense of happiness, peace, contentment. It is a natural, desirous state for humanity to wish to be in. And I think,
Absolutely.
This sense of, it's not just a biological survival, although I do, say that that's a massive part of it, but I think there is a sense of a more spiritual connection.
Oh, yes.
And there are many beliefs, many theories around the fact that we're all from the one source, and therefore we are all connected in humanity. So I think you can look at it at both levels. That it's about just day-to-day survival and the more sort of animalistic nature of ourselves, but it's also about our higher selves too, in the sense that having a real sense of belonging in the universe places us into a sense of purpose and meaning.
I think that's absolutely so. But in order to do that, you have to engage your conscious brain.
Yeah.
And I think, for many people, we've spoken many times about the fact that 95% of everything we say and do is habitual. That we don't actually utilise our conscious brain to make those thoughts. And so for the most part, the large percentage of the population is operating at that instinctive, if you like, animalistic, but that really core need for survival. If you think of the brain's gone completely dead. The triangle of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Thank you very much.
Got that from triangle.
Yes, I'm impressed. The very bottom, our need before anything else is to survive.
Yes.
Once we believe that we are safe and can survive, then we can go into other things.
Yes.
But our need for food, water, air, and safety, warmth, are really, really important to us. What I find quite interesting is here we are in the 21st century, where particularly in the Western world, we don't have to worry about have we got enough food, have we got enough water, are we going to be warm?
Yeah.
And yet in many places that sense of we are unsafe is really, really heightened.
Yes.
I was watching a program the other day about gangs in Chicago, for example, where people fear that they will be shot at, even going about their daily duty, that their children are not safe in the street because they can get caught up in gangland retribution. If you think about the news at the moment, one of the things that I struggle with hugely with the news is it's all about division. It's all about you don't fit with my way of thinking or being, therefore you are a threat. Look at the way the politicians are behaving in the UK about Brexit, and the politicians in America are behaving.
Well, and the journalism as well, in the sense that journalists love polar debates, don't they? Where they bounce from like
papers and
back and forth, but one polar debate versus another polar opinion, and they never think about compromise. They never have an intelligent debate about the nuances that real life always has.
But it's based on the principle, I'm right, therefore you have to be wrong.
Yes. When
rightness is just our perception, isn't it?
Yes, and it's in that sort of language and that kind of behaviour that certain people, perhaps all of us actually, reinforce that sense of belonging.
That's very true. But what I find interesting is if you look at, you can have terrible things going on in the world. Let's use, for example, the Second World War.
Yeah, okay, that's a rich example.
Where there were the most unspeakable acts going on behalf of all sorts of people.
Yep.
And yet there were people who were brave enough to stand outside the crowd, outside the ideology, to put themselves at huge risk in order to save people that they'd never even met, because they believed that it was important to make a stand against what was going on.
Yes.
And, if you bring that to modern day, I was watching yesterday, there's a group of people climbing Kilimanjaro at the moment. Incredibly challenging, but they're doing it to raise money for people who they've never met, because they want to do something that they feel is correct. Now, interesting, one of the things that comes across in that is this huge sense of that group belonging to one another in the moment of that climb.
Yes.
They have created a cohesive bond as a group, which is incredibly supportive, and positive and constructive.
Yes.
So here's the dilemma, that belonging to a group can be incredibly heartwarming, can be for the good of all mankind. But it can equally, if you think about, another thing I was watching was doing some training. I'm a governor of a sixth form college nearby, and I had to do some training this week on noticing radicalisation. And why do people become radicalised? And one of the reasons is there are many, and I'm likely to be oversimplifying it. But who do the radicals radicalise? It's the people who are lonely, the people who feel left out, the people who are unhappy.
Don't have a sense of belonging.
And one of the strongest reasons that is couched, certainly in the training, was the need to belong.
Going back to World War, I mean, there are some very, very famous examples of people risking their lives in order to do the right thing. There are also plenty of examples of people, very normal human beings, who, prior to the war that then happened, would have been kind and generous and stuff, who then ended up being on trial for war crimes after the war, and all of them, to a T, pretty much used that phrase, well, I was just following orders. And subsequent to that, there was, in terms of those trials that were going on as to whether that was a valid defence, I was just following orders, Governor. They did an experiment. I'm going to mangle it all because I don't know who was actually the psychologist behind it. But it's that famous experiment where people are brought into a room and told that they have to pose a quiz to somebody that's sitting behind a mirror, but a two-way mirror, so they can see them. And they have to over an intercom ask them questions. And if they get the question wrong, they're allowed to give them an electric shock. Every time they get an answer wrong, the voltage, that's the technical term, goes up. Mm-hmm. Now, in reality, this person is not being electrocuted at all.
But the person on the other side believes it.
And they are told that at a certain point, voltage will kill. And it goes up and up and up and up. And a man in a white coat stands behind this person who's doing the questioning and says, yes, go ahead. So they're given permission by somebody in authority. They know that what they're doing has the potential to kill. But they've been given a structure and been given orders. And pretty much to a T. Everybody did it. Everybody gave a lethal electric shock to the person apparently getting the answer wrong. Okay? To demonstrate, and there'll be lots and lots of other much more simplistic, much more sort of funny examples. You see it on YouTube, don't you, where people on prank shows where people go into a waiting room for a dentist and everybody else is told at a certain signal to stand up and do something funny, or sort of, and the person that doesn't know about this is sort of initially shocked to see this behaviour, but then quickly cottons on that they're the only ones not doing it, and then they start to model it. Yeah. So there's lots and lots of really good psychology that says, that kind of follow the herd, don't stand out, is really, really deeply ingrained in us. And you can make people who would talk about having good morals and good values, you can make them behave in very horrendous ways just by giving them a sense of belonging.
And I think more and more we live in a world where you have to do what's right rather than what's easy. The challenge is defining what's right. Totally. Where's your moral compass? Where's your core values? Yes. What are the things that are important to you? Yeah. And why are they important to you? And challenging your own beliefs about the world. Yeah. And what makes things right. Yes. One of the things I find quite heartening is there's a growing number of people who, we talk about consciousness, don't we? A growing number of people who have a real sense that in order for us to move forward in this world, we need to recognise that we are connected, that we belong in an energetic way. That we think, that the table that this computer is on is solid, but actually it's made up of molecules that are full of energy that can move us. Yeah. There is nothing solid.
Any quantum physicists will tell you all about that.
And so, there is a belief for many people, and I subscribe to that view, that at some level we are all connected, and that what I do or don't do has an impact, however small, on other people. And recognising that connection at a higher level, particularly if you're having a bad day or somebody's upset you or you're struggling, I think can help you recognise that there is a different way than just wanting to fit in. All my teenage years, and I was very unhappy at school, I wanted to fit in, I wanted to be part of the in-crowd. Yeah. And I never was.
There's massive peer pressure at that point in life, isn't it? When you're going through incredible change, and all you want to do is belong.
And the paradox was, in the trying too hard to belong, I put myself further and further outside of the crowd, because ultimately it becomes a power game, doesn't it? The queen bees and the queen, I don't know what the king bees, I don't know what are, but the very popular kids, those who actually wield the power. If you're my friend, you're in. If you're not my friend, you're out. That power and control, I believe, models what goes on at governmental level and at gang level and so on. Yeah. And there are children who very quickly recognise they don't want to be part of that thing.
No, I mean, if you go and watch it, Mean Girls or Legally Blonde, just the two films actually that jump out, they are silly little stories, really, on the face of it. But
they're not so silly if you actually get underneath.
Because when you actually look at the human behaviour that they're describing, you could translate it into countries' governments and how they behave to one another.
Yeah.
You know, you can really expand it right up to what we all spend our time doing on this planet, and often it is trying desperately to belong to one group at the expense of another.
And there's so many lessons to learn. For example, look at Legally Blonde. There are people's preconceptions that if you look pink and fluffy, that you have no brain.
Yeah.
And I know personally, if you're in a wheelchair, not so bad now, but certainly going back a few years, there was an assumption that if you were in a wheelchair that you couldn't speak for yourself and that you didn't have a brain cell. So we live in a world that is full of perceptions, and I think that if you want to be able to have the strength to stand outside the house and do what you believe is right, sits in line with your core values, then part of that is recognising that at times you will be a little bit uncomfortable.
Now, Brené Brown talks about that in the last book I think she published, which she did a couple of years ago now, maybe
at least two.
And she talks about how important it is.
Hi, Anne, nice to see you.
For this sense of belonging,
and
how it begins to, if you're too extreme about it, if you're not thinking unconsciously, as you say, it turns into something negative or can do. And she talks very much about how important it is to think of yourself as belonging to yourself first.
Yes.
Which when I read the book, I translated that as in, figure out who you are.
Yeah.
What's important to you. Where your boundaries are in terms of what's good and bad in the world. Really analyse that and then be authentic to that.
But I would say to you that for many people, that's a lifelong lesson.
I think it is a lifelong lesson.
Who am I?
Yeah.
Who am I in this context? Who am I in another?
Yeah.
Think about the complexity of families, for example, and how there are many families that put pressure not necessarily obviously to be the same as, and if you don't comply with the family way, then you have to sit outside that, or you're not as inside the family as perhaps you might be. And you think about religion and politics, they separate families hugely. And actually, in the small stuff, families are separated. Those people who are prepared to, who want to talk about the real things, and those who want to talk about nothing that's contentious or difficult. We've talked a lot about the relationships within that nuclear family, but then you add the extended family or with friends. And I was talking to a client this week who says, I believe I've grown out of a lot of the friends that I have, and yet I really care about them. And we talked about, you have friendships for a reason, a season, for a lifetime, and you have friendships at different levels. Yeah. And, there'll be friends that you might share your innermost stuff with. Yeah. And other friends that they're the ones that you go and have fun with. Yeah. Now, not to say that you shouldn't have fun with the people you tell your innermost thoughts to, but sometimes you have a group of people for whom the friendship has a particular shape, and that might change everything. Yes. And there are times when it's appropriate to say that this is no longer a friendship. Actually, I'm going to walk away because either that it's a toxic relationship, it's very negative or very needy or whatever. But knowing who you are and being authentic, being genuinely you, I think for many people is a very, very significant journey. One of the reasons why we started the Thrive Tribe, so you could find like-minded people who wanted to walk their personal development and spiritual path, to be more conscious, to be able to understand who they are, even when that doesn't necessarily fit with the people that they spend their time with.
Yes, because I mean, I know that I would like to think of myself as somebody who's, if I'm taken into a room and told that I can electrocute the person on the other side of the screen, I'd like to think that I'm the kind of person who has enough authenticity and sense of belonging within my own skin to be able to turn around and say, really? I don't think I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
But I don't know that I'm that kind of person. And I think that's the point, that you have to, you never really know until you're really tested. And then it's in those microseconds where you're making choices.
And if you put it back into the context of the war, what you would do if your children were threatened, or your very survival was threatened.
Yes.
And it's very easy sitting on the settee on a day when the sun is shining to be a bit pontificate about what one shouldn't do. And I don't want it to come across as that, because none of us know when push comes to shove, when life is desperate, what we would do. But one of the things that I do recognise is that there are people who have the strength, and I would like to think I'd be one of them, who would say no. And if you think of the young lady in, I can't remember which country, but I think it was Iran, who wanted to stand up for education, to shocking. Malala.
Afghanistan.
It was Afghanistan, it was Taliban, yeah. Thank you.
Hi, gang.
If you think about people who are working to extricate people from gangs, very often ex-gang members who recognise that actually it's not the way. So people, they're the big ones, but it's also true of when you walk past somebody in the street who's struggling, or you go and knock on a neighbour's door and say, I've seen you for a few weeks, are you all right? Yes. It's taking that chance, isn't it, to recognise that somebody else may not be part of your nuclear plan, but there's a need, or that your plan, whichever that might be, have taken a turn that you think is wrong, and standing up for that and saying, this far, no further. Yes. And I think for all of those, we are tested on a daily basis. Yes. But it is really true to the very core of us, which enables us to grow.
And it's using that paradox of, in order to feel like you truly belong somewhere, you have to step outside of the way you think you currently belong.
Yes, to test it.
To work on your muscles, to become clearer, more aware, more conscious of yourself and your surroundings. And in doing that, you find greater belonging.
So it's one of the reasons why a very significant part of Thriving Not Surviving, the 5 Secret Pathways, and the Thrive Tribe is about self-belief. And I think if you're a parent, one of the greatest gifts you can give your children is self-belief and confidence. Because when you believe in yourself, you have the confidence to say, no, that's not for me. I don't think that's right. If you have poor self-worth and little confidence, you are much more likely to go with the flow in order to have that false, I believe, sense of protection that if I go with them, then I'll be all right.
I think that, I mean, well, it's difficult, isn't it, when I'm so close to the tree, but I think I am more capable of saying to my children, and perhaps my grandmother was capable of saying to hers, question why. You know, you have the ability to say why. Now, it's difficult in lots of moments. School, for instance, isn't necessarily set up for a really challenging question, why bird all the time. They just want you to learn the facts and then regurgitate them at the exam type of thing. But if they have that sort of sense of permission to question why, to say, well, do I belong here, or could I belong over there? And of course, there's a lot of dynamic in terms, especially teenage girl dynamic, where the friendship groups are constantly shifting. And there's this mental cruelty that goes on between girls around it. And the only sense of safety that you can ever get, I think, in that scenario is if you have a better sense of yourself and also the awareness of this dynamic. Because if you are unconscious of the dynamic and you think that you're standing still, the reality is you're bobbing about with, and then you're like, well, why is she being so mean to me? And oh, shall I do that? And then this whole sort of repeating process of which is the radicalisation that you were talking about.
And I think, you know, we took radicalisation at any number of levels. That's why having, when you're developing your strength, your core value muscles, if you like, it's so important to have a positive peer group. And by positive, I don't mean positive in the sense that they are definite about what they're doing, but actually that they have core values that are around kindness and compassion.
Yeah.
And, you know, often people find, you know, their peer group, a positive peer group, through sport or through music or through a shared interest or work. I'm not saying that that's necessarily perfect, but it's a better peer group than, for example, I was talking to one of the teachers at sixth form college about the growing concern in secondary schools around self-harm.
Yeah.
And it's become quite a fashion. You know, somebody's had a problem. It's been, I'm not saying that none of the people who are self-harming don't have difficulties, but actually many of them have done it because it's a way of belonging.
I think all of them have difficulties. I think that it has become more of an accepted norm in society because it has been taught. You always get this, don't you? You always, the more that we talk and are open about sort of, you know, behaviour that is negative behaviour, let's call it that, the more it sort of seems to become possible to certain people. And then there is definitely a psychology of a mindset of somebody saying, well, actually, I don't feel so good about myself, or I don't feel so good about the situation. So I need to make some kind of statement to the world about that. What should I do? Oh, I know. And I think some people do actually have a very simplistic, I'll cut myself. Whereas
also, you've got to remember that as they do, then the body kicks in and endorphins are released to solve the pain, and they get a high, and then it becomes self-fulfilling, self-appreciating. But I think as we draw this conversation to a close, and it's one of those conversations that could go on in all sorts of contexts for a long time, I'd just like to leave with people who are watching this, whether you're watching it live or watching the replay, is think about in your life the times when you have, with hindsight, wished you had been confident enough to speak up, to speak out, to do something different to those people that were around you, or that you had wished you'd taken an action that was different to the one that you did. And not in terms of blame or beating yourself up, but looking at what's the lesson that's come out of that. And has your behaviour changed as a result of that? Have your beliefs changed? Would you be better equipped to do this something different if that same situation cropped up again? Because things tend to crop up in different situations, but the same underlying lesson, if you like. And the other thing is, you look at your family, your friendship groups, your work colleagues, and so on. Which clans, which herds, which tribes do you belong to? Are they serving you, and are they giving you a sense of belonging which is based on positive values? Or are you having to, in some way, make yourself small in order to belong? And if that's the case, I would really urge you, get some help, come and talk to us. Look at the stuff that's on at the website, genuinely-you. Join the Thrive Tribe, because it's a very positive group which is nurturing and looking to help you be your best self. But wherever you get it, get yourself some help, because if you find that you're playing small in order to belong, that's so destructive over time.
It's not really belonging.
No. And you're not being your genuine best self. You're not being authentically true to the amazing, creative, unique person that you are. So I'm going to draw this to a close and say thank you very much for joining us today. Both of us are #1 international bestsellers, and our books are available on my website, which is www.genuine-you.com, or on Amazon and other book platforms. But you can also sign up for the free TV show. You can get a digital download of Thriving Not Surviving for free. Join the Genuinely You group and get other people to join. Share some of the information and some of the videos and things, please share them about. So thanks very much for joining us today. Have a great day, and we'll speak to you soon. Bye now.